Part 6, Incoming Phone Calls, Mastering the 12 Steps of the Incoming Phone Call. This series will give you the edge to recognize and then achieve your goals through its philosophy of constant, never-ending improvement. Strategies that will become a fluid part of who you are. Maximize your true potential. Strategies for success. Your first step to success, beyond your imagination.
Welcome back. I want to thank you again for allowing me to come out there and work with you guys, enhancing your skills in the incoming phone call process. I'll tell you what, it's probably one of the most misunderstood tools in our dealership. I mean, again, going back to NADA and the Nielsen Company, 2% of all incoming phone calls get sold. At best, 3%. And again, if you're the dealer, put your owner cap on again. We spend all this money every month to make that telephone ring and the door to swing. And let's just say we're only getting 3% of total sales off of the incoming phone call. Again, as an owner, how would you feel about that? Would you be excited about that opportunity? I would hope not. That's a disgusting number. That's why we say 10% is the bare bones minimal that you got to get to. Listen to these stats, okay? 85% of all salespeople out there never even asked for a telephone number when the call came in. Can you believe that? 85%. 80% never even asked for an appointment. How do you take a call? You know, the call comes in. How do you even take a call and not ask for a phone number? How do you even not try to get an appointment? I mean, why even take the call if it's being handled that way? 75% never took control of the call through asking them questions. I mean, questions were answered, but rarely were they asked. You know, call comes in and, you know, looking for XYZ vehicle. Do you happen to have any of those? Yeah, I've got 4 of those. You know, I'm looking for a red one. Do you have a red one in stock? Yeah, we've got 2 red ones in stock. Hey, by the way, what do those cost? Well, they range between $22,000 and $25,000 based on the equipment. Hey, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Hey, my name's... The guy's gone already. Again, we're giving out information. Listen to this here. 95% of all the calls that were taken, the salesperson didn't even introduce himself properly, and nor did the customer understand how to find the store once they hung up. Why are these numbers so low? I'll tell you why. Because it's outside our comfort zone. I mean, when's the last course you took on how to handle an incoming phone call? Probably never. And if you were anything trained like me, you said, hey, there's your desk, there's a lot, go sell cars. And no one ever sat down with me and said, here, these are the key fundamentals of taking an incoming phone call so you can succeed. Again, our benchmark is this, that 60% of all the calls that come in have to be set to an appointment. We have to be able to measure that. If they're not set to an appointment, my gosh, what are we doing there? We have to begin to measure these types of techniques. And we're going to get into how to do that. Is that making sense? Okay. Again, but it's the lack of knowing what to say. It's a lack of knowing what to do. A lot of us in this business look at phone-ups as an inefficient source of business. Well, what do you mean? Well, what I'm saying by that is this. If I took 10 calls this week and sold no cars, how would you look at the incoming phone call? Does that make sense? If the calls are coming in like we know they are, and the results are 2 to 3%, again, you know, we begin to get conditioned. You know, the phone call is not really a real deal. But ironically, the customer who comes in off the telephone call, what's his closing ratio? Is it higher or lower than that of a fresh walk-in guest? The closing ratio on a phone-up that shows up is that of a B-back. At least 36%. Heck, that's 16% better than that of a fresh walk-in at 20%. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. Let's get ready to understand how to maximize the opportunity to grow your business through incoming phone calls. All right? Does that make sense? Okay, now let's begin with an honest evaluation of how you currently track on your numbers. Okay? What percentage of names are you getting with an incoming phone call? Let's just say out of 10 calls that you receive, what percentage do you get names and numbers from? Secondly, what percentage of appointments are you getting out of those customers that are calling you? And when I say an appointment, I'm talking about a date and time. Not just, oh, I'll come down Saturday sometime, but a specific time and date that they're going to show up at the dealership. The third thing is a percentage of customers which you have completed a fact-finding procedure. I mean, you found out they're looking for a 4-door, looking for a 6-cylinder, light shade colored car. You know, you've done some little bit of investigative work to learn more about what they're trying to accomplish. And obviously we're tying this all together with what? Our pacing and leading process, our matching and mirroring process. Okay? How about what percentage of customers have written down your name? When I say written down your name, I mean you're willing to bet they wrote your name down. Okay? How do you make sure they write your name down? And then basically, what I want to ask is, why are the calls so inefficiently handled? I think because a few things happen. No, like I said before, no one's trained us. No one's accountable to any call. We can take 10, 20 phone calls, and who would know? Right? How many of those showed up? Who would know? So we can just give out the information and just forget about them. I mean, that's hopefully not your attitude. Hopefully your attitude is you want to get them in so you can sell them while they're here. Right? But so many times we just give them the information and that's the end of the call. Again, what is a traditional way of handling a phone call? Well, someone calls in, you answer the telephone, you say, hey, I'm back in the service right now. Give me your name and number, and I'll call you back in a few minutes. Or you may say something, hey, right now I'm doing something, I'm not by my desk, but give me your name and number, and I'll go ahead and give you a call back in a few minutes. Now listen, why do we do that? Again, that's the best of the worst, I guess, right? We do those things because if you've never been trained, and you've always been taught somehow that you should get the customer's name so you can call them back in case you're disconnected or something, you want to get their name and phone number, right? But in reality, what does that do for you? Put yourself in the customer's shoes. I mean, they want information when? Yesterday, don't they? They don't want to be sitting around waiting, twiddling their thumbs. They're going to hang up with you and do what? Call the next person where? In the yellow pages or in the paper. They're not going to wait around for you to call them. Plus, let's just say, for example, you are really doing something. You're back on the lot or something, and your manager sees you and sees a guest out there. Hey, go ahead and grab that customer right now. Yeah, but I got to get that call to this other person back in a few minutes. Don't worry about that. Just grab that customer right now. So you grab that customer out there and you begin to take care of that customer. Meanwhile, Mr. Customer's on the phone waiting for you to call him back. Again, there's a better way of handling it, I think. So again, if you've never been trained, what do? You do what you've always done, which is the best of the worst. Okay? What I'd like to do now is go through a process, if you will, of how to handle the incoming phone call. And I believe that just like the steps to the sale, approach, meet and greet, fact find, trade evaluation, sell from stock, all those steps that we go through, there's the same kind of a process for handling an incoming phone call. The first one is introduce yourself, not your department. I can't imagine in our stores, it's amazing how often I hear people say, used car sales, may I help you? I mean, I just cringe when I hear that. I mean, listen to this here. Used car sales, may I help you? Versus, good afternoon, this is Ken, how may I assist you, please? I mean, how do you feel about those two different, the first versus the second? I mean, I tell you what, I love introducing yourself during the time of day. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It's great. Good afternoon, this is Ken, how may I assist you, please? Doesn't that sound much more professional? Realize this, people judge you in 10 seconds over the phone. Heck, we thought 30 seconds was tough to accomplish face-to-face. You got 10 seconds to make a solid impression over the phone. Is that fair? It don't matter. It's really the real deal. Okay? Number 2 is similar speed and tone. Why would we do that? Why would we want to have similar speed and tone from the customer? So if they talk really fast, then we should talk really slow, or should we model that? Again, from our last tape, we want to go through the process of matching and mirroring those customers. Why? To develop that trust. Again, the more things we perceive that are similar, the more rapport is usually achieved. All right? So number 3 now is the discovering of the equipment. All right? So we got our introduction down. We modeled their talking, and we matched and mirrored the individual effectively. And now we want to get into discovering the equipment needs. In other words, fact-finding. So we want to tie our pacing and leading back in for this whole process. So go to the top. Good afternoon, this is Ken. How may I assist you, please? Yeah, Ken, I'm looking for an XYZ vehicle. Hey, great choice. I'm glad you called. Man, I love that vehicle myself, and we sell a ton of those vehicles. They're very, very popular. I'm glad you called. Now, that's all of our pacing, tying around what? That customer's desire. How does it make the customer feel on the other side of the phone? Good or bad? Again, go through what they're going through. They've actually sat down, they've done their homework, they've scratched out what kind of vehicle they want, a car, truck, or SUV. They then narrowed it down to, let's say, an SUV. Then they narrowed it down to the type of SUV they want. Do they want an import? Do they want, a domestic? Do they want to go, if they go domestic, are they going to go with a Chevy, a Ford, or a Dodge? They narrow that down to maybe the vehicle they want. It's a lot of homework. So now if you come across like it's not a great idea, what's going to happen? They're going to question themselves. Is this really the best car for me? So match and mirror it and pace it. Hey, great choice. I'm glad you called. Man, I love that vehicle. We sell a lot of them. Man, you've done your homework. I love working with customers who know what they want. Oh, by the way, did you want 4x4 or two-wheel drive? Oh, 4x4. Yeah, I don't blame you. Okay, yeah. Hold its value a little bit better, and it's easier getting in and out of the snow and so forth, especially here in the mountains or in the Midwest or wherever you're at. Okay? Does that make sense? So you want to pace them and continue to pace them. Oh, but by the way, did you want, an 8-cylinder or a 6-cylinder? No, you want an 8-cylinder. Yeah, okay, good. It makes good sense. Now, this can be for business or for pleasure. It's for business and some pleasure. Okay, and again, we're developing what? A rapport with this customer. Any way we can see a side angle that we can go out on in terms of their business. What kind of business do you do? Oh, you're in construction, really. What kind of construction do you work within? Oh, you build homes. Okay, fantastic. One of my best friends builds homes for a living as well. Have you heard of XYZ? Oh, you had? Good. Again, we're trying to develop trust. We're selling who? Ourselves, aren't we? Then we're selling what? The dealership and our products. Make sense? All right. So now we want to go ahead and go through the process, and we want to go back to restating, validating, and clarifying the customer. That's number 4 in this whole process. Okay? What does that mean? Once we figure out and conclude what the customer is trying to accomplish, let's tell them that we know now what they're trying to accomplish. It just sets them at ease. Okay? So you tell me you want an extended cab, or you want an SUV with a 4x4, 8-cylinder, light in color type of an automobile. Did I miss anything at all? Nope, that's it. Fantastic. Okay, now they know that we know what they want. Do you think it makes him feel a little better about that process? Is he getting that at the other story called? Is he being treated the same way as I'm teaching you right now to treat this customer? I doubt it. Again, it's all about relationships. Relationship selling. Okay? Number 5 in this process is position yourself to get the name and number. So what we've done now is we've restated the customer what they want in terms of the process. So what I want to do now is check on my availability. Okay, so what I want to do for you here is I want to go out and check on my availability. I don't want you running around without a good reason. It'll probably take me, 5 or 10 minutes. Are you calling from home or work? And we'll stop right there. Again, people don't want to give you out information until you got some kind of leverage over them. And what I mean by leverage is this. Getting the customer to give me their name and phone number, like we've all been trained maybe in the past. You call me, my name, your name is, and your phone number is. It's like none of your business. Do you have XYZ vehicle? I mean, we want to get their name and number up front. They don't want to give us their name and number. Right? So why even ask for it? Is that a withdrawal or is that a deposit asking for a name and number? I mean, you do the math. It's a major withdrawal. So we don't want to ask for it up front. We want to ask for it when we've got some leverage. We call it the law of reciprocation. The law of reciprocation says that if I do something for you, you're going to feel more obligated to want to do something back for me. So now that you know that I'm a professional, based on our experience so far on the telephone, me telling you now what you want, and I understand all that, and now I respect your time. I want to go out and check on my availability. Not my inventory, mind you, my availability. And by the way, what is available to us as a car dealer? Everything. Heck, a Sherman tank's available for the right amount of money. Would you agree? So the better word than inventory is availability. I'm going to go out and check on my availability. I don't want you running around without a good reason. It'll probably take me somewhere in the neighborhood of, 5 or 10 minutes. We go to number 6 now. Get the name and number. Make sense? So we're getting the leverage now. We're going to go run around the lot and put our hands on the car. That's the customer's perception of what we're doing. Are you calling from home or work? Is that intrusive? Are you calling from home or work? I didn't say, what's your name? What's your phone number? I said, are you calling from home or work? Usually they'll say, well, I'm calling from work. And that number there is, see, it's a command. Whenever you ask a question in a format of a command, like is, it's more of a direct question. You're going to pull it right out of them. Make sense? Are you calling from home or work? And that number there is. And if I missed you there, the next best number would be. And your last name is spelled. And your first name is? Nice to meet you, such and such. Now, what does that mean? See, I've asked for the last name first by its spelling. Many people will call a dealership up in their mind. They'll be thinking to themselves, okay, I'm going to tell them my name is John Doe. Okay? John Doe. Or my name's John. They don't get the spelling of these last names they're going to be using here. So if I say, and the last name is spelled, and he goes, well, it's K-I-N-G-S-T-A-D, Kingstad. Okay. And the first name is? Well, now I've already given him my last name spelling, so it's Ken. So you kind of ask it in this way, or you got to almost trick them in terms of getting the flow out of them to tell us their name and phone numbers. Make sense? Okay, so once we do that, now we got their name and number, we're going to jump on to number 7, the pattern interrupt. Do we really want to hang the phone up right now in the middle of the call? I doubt it. Why? Because what will happen is this. You'll go out there and run into a customer probably. And if you don't run into a customer, your manager will probably tell you to do something taking you off of task. So let's stay true to our task. So instead of putting the phone down and hanging it up, just put them on hold for a moment. Gather your thoughts. It's called a pattern interrupt. Okay, you know what? As I said, I want to go out and check on my availability. The last thing I want you to do is to run around without a good reason. Or better yet, can you hold on just for a moment, please? I can probably check right now. Can you hold on for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds on the outside? Wonderful. Remember, people want information when? Yesterday. They don't want to be like waiting for days. They want to get this information right now so they can get their homework completed. So 10 minutes, a few moments ago, to 10 seconds, my gosh, heck yeah. I'll hold for a moment. Good. Put them on hold. Put the phone down. Gather your thoughts. Think about it once. Okay, do we have an SUV like this? Or do we have an extended cab truck like this? It's got to have an 8-cylinder. It's got to be light in color. My gosh, I got 10 of them out there. All right? Yeah, I got the type of vehicle out there. It may not be the exact vehicle, but it's the availability. Check on that vehicle for you. All right. We're going to come back on the phone now with enthusiasm. It's number 8. We want to create enthusiasm or urgency for the appointment. This is really important. If you come back on the phone like I hear so many people do, hey, you know what, we got 4 of them out here right now. When could you come out and take a look at these vehicles? Well, there's no enthusiasm there. Come on the phone with enthusiastic, in your tone of voice. Hey, great news for you. I had that exact vehicle right now down here, but we've got to act. As you probably know, these vehicles do sell quite quickly. Is this afternoon or this evening good for you? And stop. That's the key to getting some momentum built up in this customer to want to come down and actually see this process. Make sense? So create enthusiasm, create urgency. And by the way, if you don't do this step effectively, your show ratio will be below 50%. It's the first thing I look to on my reports. If I see a guy's got a lot of appointments but no shows, the guy's not creating enough enthusiasm to get the customer excited to come down. So really, number 8 is creating the urgency. Number 9 is setting the appointment. So we're going to go back to 8 and we're going to finish on 9. Hey, great news for you. We have this vehicle available right now, but we've got to act. As you probably know, these cars do sell very quickly. Is this afternoon good to come out, or is this evening? And we always want to give them a choice, the or combination. Is this afternoon or this evening best? Or you may say, is this morning, afternoon, or this evening better for you? Let them choose. Give them A, B, or C. No, this afternoon's good for you. Remember I said earlier, words are very inefficient in terms of communication? 7%, right? Okay. So let's say, what does afternoon mean to this person? Are you thinking early afternoon, or are you thinking late afternoon? Again, it's the or. I'm thinking late. So you're thinking around 4 o'clock, huh? Okay, now I know what he thinks in terms of late. Okay, let me look at my day timer here. Whether you have your day timer in front of you or not. Again, we want to look like we're busy people. People like to deal with people who are busy professionals. Would you agree? If you called your doctor and said, hey, when can I come down? Come down right now. I'm not doing anything right now. Come down and see me. I mean, you'd kind of question your doctor a little bit in terms of how good are they really. Okay, so you got at 4 o'clock, you want to come down. Okay, I'm finishing up with the customer. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. If you're not, then I got some more paperwork I'm taking care of here at 3:30 till about 4 o'clock, and I'll be done at 4. How would 4:15 be for you? Again, we want to set the appointment always on the quarter hours. We call it the 15 or 45. Now, why do you say you'd want to do that? Well, again, your wife asks you or your spouse asks you, hey, when are you going down to the dealership? Oh, I'm going down around 4 o'clock. Or I'm going down around 4:15. Again, 4:15 is more of a solid appointment. And again, I didn't make this up. This is something that doctors and lawyers have been using for years and years and years. Okay, but utilize this. This helps subconsciously get and drive the customer to your dealership's doors more effectively. Okay? So you're thinking afternoon or evening? I'm thinking afternoon. You're thinking early or late afternoon? I'm thinking late. Around what time? Around 4 o'clock, huh? Okay, I've got a delivery here at 3:30. Usually it takes me about 30 minutes to kind of finish up with my customer. The last thing I want you is my customer to leave here not knowing exactly how their vehicle is working and so forth. How about we go for 4:15? Would 4:15 be appropriate? You see how I did that appointment? And by the way, who set the appointment? The customer or me? They did. What do you mean? Yeah, they did. I just kind of guided them, you know, morning, afternoon, or evening. Okay, afternoon. You're thinking early or late afternoon? Late? Okay. So you're thinking around 4 o'clock? Oh, how about 4:15? So they set it themselves. So what are the odds if they set it themselves of showing? Is it up or down? It goes up. Why should I try to guess when they can come in? Let them tell you. And remember, pacing is the key to keeping this thing moving in a very, what, non-confrontational way. Make sense? Okay, now we want to go to the next step, which is going to be number 10, actually. It's called pencil handy or pen handy. I'll wait. That's called an embedded command. We've been saying this for years. Hey, do you got a pencil handy? Okay, jot my name down if you would. Now, how many of us have actually not jotting down the name when we said we were? We're flipping the channels, watching our remote, watching our TV with our remote control, right? Write my name down if you wouldn't mind, the person on the phone says. Okay, yeah, I've got it here. And you're flipping the channels on the TV. We've all done that. Yours truly's done that. Okay? But if I said, have you got a pen handy there? I'll wait for you to go ahead and grab one and just wait. What does that tell the customer? You're giving them permission to put that remote control down, get off their butt, and go get a pen and paper to write down some information. It's important. Just like when you close a deal. You turn the pen and paper around, you give them the offer, you say, I need your okay right here, and we'll go ahead and take care of the paperwork. And you don't say a word. Right? Same thing here. You got a pen handy there? I'll wait for you to grab one if you don't mind. And don't say nothing. And you'll be surprised what you'll hear. Hold on, please. Hey, honey, can you bring me a pen and paper, please? Or you hear the drawer open up and they'll shovel through their drawer to get a pen and paper out. It's fantastic. Don't smile too big when they begin to do all this. All right? Because you got control of the situation that you're going through right now with this incoming phone call. Is this a little different so far than maybe how you're currently taking an incoming phone call? We're not quite done yet, but so far, is it similar or different than what you currently do? Interesting. It's probably a whole lot different. Okay, once we do that, we want to go ahead and mentally drive the customer to our dealership. Once we get the customer write down our name, phone numbers, I want to make sure they know where we're at. Mentally drive them here. Okay, where are you coming from? Oh, I'm coming in from XYZ. Now, do you know where we're located? Yes, I do. Great. Even though they tell you they know where you're located, drive them in anyway. Just jump on 94. Take 94 down and exit off on ABC Street. What you want to do is go over the bypass. The second set of stoplights, take a right. That's 3rd Street. We're the 3rd dealership down on the right side. You can't miss us. Huge sign out, yada, yada, yada. See, we're giving them directions to our store, even though they said they knew where we're at. Because sometimes they're thinking of a different store. Have you ever had a customer come in asking for a salesperson that doesn't work at your dealership? Happens all the time. So we want the other dealerships to mess up and take advantage of those opportunities. But we don't want to mess up ourselves and send them to other dealerships to buy their cars, do we? And then last but not least, we want to end the call with the word courtesy. Reaffirm what just happened. Okay, so we got a schedule down for tomorrow. At what time was that again? That's right, 4:15. And when you get down here, who are you going to ask for? That's right, Ken Kingstad. Listen, if you're running a little late, no big deal. Just give me a call if you wouldn't mind. I'm not saying if they can't make it. I don't want to give them an out. Does that make sense? I don't want to let them have an out to say, if you can't make it, just call me. No, no, no. If you're running a little late, that's no big deal. Just give me a call. And if my schedule should happen to change a little bit, hey, I'll extend the same courtesy to you. Otherwise, I'll see you tonight, or whatever time it was, at 4:15. Fantastic. End the call. And that's it. It's a nice 12-step process that we can just follow our nose down. And again, having the call guide in front of you as you do this process keeps you on track. It's not a script. I'm not trying to load your lips with key words to speak all the way through the whole process. I want to just give you triggers. Introduce yourself. Similar speed and tone. Discover equipment. Restate, validate, and clarify. Position yourself for a name and number. Get the name and number. Do a pattern interrupt. Create some enthusiasm or some urgency for the appointment. Set the appointment using the 15 and 45. Use the pen handy, I'll wait technique to get them to write down your name and phone number and also mentally drive them to the store when the pen's in their hand. Reaffirm them as they come in that if they're running a little late, give us a call. It's a simple process for the incoming phone call. What happens when you get a used car call? Someone calls in very specifically looking for I want a 1999 Chevy S10 pickup truck, and they're very clear about what they want. How do we do that process if, in fact, we know maybe we don't have that car out there available to us? Well, I'm not saying available, but maybe it's not in our inventory currently. Do we lie to the customer just to bring him into our dealership? It's a policy question. My person would say, no, we don't want to lie, but we want to create some flexibility. So how would we create flexibility in the customer? Again, they're going to call us. We're going to say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, like we normally would. Good afternoon, this is Ken. How may I assist you, please? Hey, Ken, I'm looking for a XYZ vehicle. Let's just say it's a 99 Chevy S10 pickup truck, okay? Hey, great choice. Man, it's a very quality automobile, and obviously you've done your homework. You know what you want. That makes good sense. Let me ask you a few questions. Was it the style of that particular vehicle that was the most important to you here, or was the price the most important thing to you here in the purchase of this S10 pickup truck? Well, they're going to come back and usually say, well, they're both very important to me. And I'd say, great, I understand that, and that makes good sense. If one had to be just a little bit more important than the other, what's the most important thing to you? If you had to guess. And again, people don't really want to think for a living, so if you ask them to guess towards one or the other, they'll choose one or the other. In this case here, 99% of the time, it's going to be what do you think? Money. Otherwise, I'd be calling out the 2003, or the new S10 pickup truck. Would you agree? So what we want to do is create some flexibility. Obviously, they got an idea what they want there, so we'll say, okay, great, and I don't blame you. Getting a great deal is what it's all about. What I want to do is go on and check on my availability, because I don't want you running around without a good reason. And it'll probably take me 5 or 10 minutes, and if it's okay with you, I'll look for the S10s, but also other vehicles very similar to the S10s in that make and model range, or in that style, if that's okay for you. And what are they going to say to that question? Well, that's fine, great, no problem. If they're really specific about, well, I want a 1966 Corvette, hey, we may have to say, we don't have that, but is this something you have to do today? Or would you be willing to wait a few days or a few weeks for me to locate one? I'm just trying to create some flexibility with this customer. But the call is exactly the same. The only difference in the used car call is creating flexibility up front. And you can do that real easy. Again, I'll repeat. Introduce yourself. Good afternoon, this is Ken. How may I assist you, please? Hey, Ken, I'm looking for an XYZ vehicle. Great choice. I'm glad you're looking for that particular vehicle. They're very popular these days, and they do sell quite rapidly. Let me ask you, was it the style of that vehicle was the most important thing to you, or was the price the best or most important thing to you? It was the money. Okay, I don't blame you. That makes good sense. So, I don't blame you. Buying a car a couple of years old makes good sense for me and my family, too. Again, align. Show that you're on their side working for them. I want to go out and check on my availability for you. The last thing I want you to do is run around without a good reason. And if it's okay for you, if I check on this particular vehicle, but other ones that are very similar to it in both style and price, that'd be great. Okay, good. Again, are you calling from home or work? And that number there is? And if I miss you there, the next best number would be, etc., etc. The call's the same. The only difference is creating that flexibility up front. You see how I did that? Does that make sense to everybody? That's how we handle a used car call. Now, I'll use a third call that comes in oftentimes. It's called the car and the paper call. It's very similar to the used car call with the exception of the following. Here's an example of it. Again, a guy calls in looking for, I got an ad in the paper here. It says that you've got a XYZ vehicle, stock number, blah, 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 and it says it's for this much money, and I'm calling to see if it's still available. Is it still out there? We'll come back with, what? It's a great question. What I want to do is check on my availability. It seems like you've done your homework and you've got all your ducks in a row in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. Share with me, what paper did you find that in? Or what magazine did you see that in? Oh, I found it in the Thrifty Nickel. Do me a favor. Could you read me the article exactly how it reads, please? Now, stop. What am I doing right now with this particular customer? Who's in control, by the way? The person asking questions, right? What's he doing? Hold on, please. Okay, now he pulls up the Thrifty Nickel. It says here, you've got XYZ vehicle, stock number, blah, 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 excellent condition, it must see to appreciate. This much money, stock number, like I said, this is what it is. Okay, great. I'm not too sure if that vehicle is still available to us. What I'll do is check on it. We've had a lot of phone calls regarding that particular ad. And if it's okay for you, I'll go out and check on it and see if that vehicle is still available, but also other vehicles that are very similar to it in both price and style, if that's okay with you as well. Again, the call is exactly the same. What's he going to say to that question? If he says no, then we're going to go out and check on that particular vehicle. If he says yes, What'd you do? You went from a specific car to what? A range of cars. Does that make sense to everybody here? We're taking from this car to these cars. Okay, you calling from home or work? The number there is. Missing data, next best number would be last name spelled, first name is. Oh, hold on one second, please. Again, the call is exactly the same as the last one, with the exception that we did one thing different. Where did you see the ad? Would you mind reading me the ad? And remember, the key to success in this whole process is what? Pace, pace, pace to avoid confrontation. And confrontation is really a big one in this next call guide. So we've covered the new car call guide, the used car call guide, and now we've covered the used car call guide in the paper. The fourth one we want to cover right now is going to be the real abstinent customer who's calling about the price. And, I wanted the best price in this particular vehicle. We've all been there before, haven't we? Guy gets the telephone, the guy goes, he wants a XYZ vehicle, and he wants your best price. What do you say to him? Hey, I can appreciate the best price. What's that? It's a pace. I don't blame you. Getting the best price is the most important thing to me as well when I buy a vehicle. Share with me your thoughts. Target budget range-wise, where were you hoping to get to on a vehicle just like this one? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to come back and tell you, well, I wanted to be around $500 a month or $400 a month or X dollars. But sometimes they're going to say to you, none of your business. That's why I'm calling you. I want your best price on this particular vehicle. Just come back and pace them again. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I was just trying to educate myself a little bit in the process for you to buy this car. And by no means do I want to get you upset. I'll be more than happy to go out and check on this here for you from my manager to get you the very best price. Could you give me an idea at least of where you're hoping to get to on a vehicle like this? I attempt to get the price from this customer a second time. You guys follow this? And finally he comes back and says, listen, if you're not going to give me the price, I'm just done. I'm hanging up. I want the price or I'm done. Just come back again a third time and say, okay, I'm very sorry. I'll go ahead and grab my manager here in a moment. It shouldn't take me but 5 or 10 minutes. Are you at this number here? I can give you a call back in 5 or 10 minutes? Yes, I am. Okay, super. I'll go ahead and check my manager here. Oh, by the way, suppose I get some numbers for you that make good sense. Suppose they make a ton of sense. What were you prepared to do about that today? He'll come back with one of two responses. I'll buy the thing, or I'll think about it. Either way, get with your manager and tell him the scenario, and let the manager call this customer back. Okay? Then a manager can make a decision whether he says the bottom line price, I'll buy it, or he give him a range, he'll think about it. But then it's a manager decision, not our decision. I'm a firm believer in a salesperson should never have to give the price out over the phone. Does that make sense, everybody? I know I've given you a lot of information here, but really they're all really similar, but yet a little different twist to each one. But again, what I want you to do is to replay this tape again and again and again until it just becomes part of you. And again, like I said, hey, if it was easy, everyone would have done it. Okay? It's why only 10% of all of our salespeople in America make a 6-figure income. What's your why? What's your passion? How bad do you really want it? And if you want it as bad as you say you want it, guess what? Training and conditioning these types of techniques will take you to where you need to go. Hey, listen, I really appreciate your time today. Keep up the hard work, and we'll talk to you next time.